Complex profiles in version 11 hasn't changed much from version 10, so this movie is just a small addendum to the actual movie that comes after this little bit. And really the only change in version 11 is that once we place a complex profile wall, beam or column, we can actually curve them. So once I've got it selected, we can see up here that it's a complex profile by that icon being greyed out, and the name of it is right there. So if I actually select the wall and check this icon here, I can curve that complex profile, which we couldn't do in the previous version. Now if I go to the 3D window by pushing F4 on the Mac or F5 on the PC, we can see there's my complex profile. Now we can curve walls that are complex, we can curve walls that are sloping, and walls that are sloped on both sides or dual sloping. So if I just grab this wall and change that to say 80 degrees, and I might just go to the 3D window, pushing F4 on a Mac, F5 on a PC, and I'm just going to grab that and click on this node, and a greater explanation of this will be given in the preceding movie. And I'm just going to click there, move that over a little bit, and move that this way a little bit. So that's what they look like now. I'm going to grab this wall, select this icon here, and I'm just going to curve that. I'm going to go back to this wall, select this wall out here, select the same icon, and curve that as well. So now if I go back to the 3D window, we can see that we have curved complex profile, sloping wall, and dual sloping wall. This can also be done with beams and columns now. Now I'm just going to jump to the version 10 movie now. New for version 10 is a new way of creating complex walls, columns and beams. To find this new tool, we go to the Design menu, Complex Profiles and Profile Manager. If I open the Profile Manager, I'm just going to move that over to the left hand side here, we have basically three options. We can choose from an existing profile. Over here we can see this is a wall, this is a beam, this is a wall and a beam, and this one's a column. So we're going to choose an existing profile. We can edit this profile. We can create a new profile. And we can also capture the elements of a profile that's on the floor plan. So this is not highlighted at the moment because we don't have anything on the floor plan selected, but we'll get to this later. First of all, we're going to edit an existing profile. So if I choose a profile that's already there and I click on Edit Chosen Profile, this palette opens up and the design layers expand, and over here we have 5 options to help us create or edit our new wall type. So if I hide everything here, under construction we have the actual physical wall. This is what it will actually look like on the floor plan and through sections and elevations. The drafting layer allows us to create guides and lines to assist us in creating the wall type, and these lines don't actually become a part of the wall. They're just there to help us construct it. And then next we have the horizontal stretch. These lines define if we want to widen the wall it will stretch, in this particular instance, the whole width of the wall. But if I wanted to change that, I could perhaps move this line to this face of the wall. That way this cornice part wouldn't expand, it would only expand from the areas between the lines. If I check the vertical stretch, in this instance, if I wanted to stretch this wall in floor plan, it would only stretch in this area in here. Anything to the south of the line or to the north of this line remains untouched, so it will only stretch the center part in here. Then we have the opening reference. This defines where windows and reveals and doors will be anchored from. So I'm just going to grab this and move that in line with the face of the wall. And now if I place that wall onto the floor plan, first of all I have to check complex profiles, choose the profile, which was the Porsche profile, and then I can draw the wall. Now I'm just going to place any window in there, and if I go to the 3D window, we can see where the window is sitting. Now I didn't actually save the new position of the window reference line, so if we open that now and I open that wall again, edit chosen profile, now I'm going to change that opening reference. I'm going to grab that opening reference line, and these opening reference lines can be on angles, so if you've come up with a wall that's not exactly vertical, you can change the reference to any angle you like. So, but in this instance I want to make it vertical, so move that to there. I'm going to push the store profile this time, close it. I'm just going to click onto the floor plan and we can see it snapped to the new position. Now the window's sitting in the correct spot. Now if I had another wall that was similar, if I hold down the Alt key and I pick up the properties of that wall and I draw another wall, and I go back to the 3D window, and if I grab this wall and stretch it, we can see that only this area is stretching and the sections over here are staying identical, they're not moving. In the next example, we're going to edit a footing, and over here is the footing. So I'm just going to change this by adding an extra node down here and increasing the depth of that footing. I have a couple of options with this one. I can actually save it as a beam or a wall and it'll work just the same. The key thing to note is the point of origin is set at this point here. So when we actually draw or place this on the floor plan, it defines how it will react with other elements on a floor plan. I'll just do a quick example of this. First of all, I'm going to check the type of fill. So I select it and we can see the fill type up here, it's concrete reinforced. So we have to make sure that the slab we place on the floor plan has the same fill. So I'm just going to collapse that now, push store, so we want to save it. Now if I draw the slab and go to my wall type, choose the complex profile, I'll just collapse this first, and then select the footing, which is already selected, push OK. I'm going to hold my spacebar down, left mouse click, And if I open the marquee tool, press F5, we can see there's the result. That's the effect that it's had. We can see that the point of origin is married up with the edge of the slab. And if I open a section through there, I'm just going to move this up to here, open, we can see it's created the perfect footing detail. Next, if we create a new profile, I'm just going to delete everything here at the moment. If I go to Design, Complex Profiles, Profile Manager, and Create New. So I'm just going to create a wall that I saw the other day in a very old building type that I saw on a very old style turn of the century type bank. Then I'm going to open the design layers and I'm going to check drafting, and I'm going to draw some construction lines just to help me. I'm going to move my mouse up this way, make the wall 3 meters. Make it 300 wide. Then I'm going to draw another guideline, say 75 million or 50 million, just up through the middle of the wall. Then I'm going to put some shorter guidelines through here. Now I'm going to multiply these out by pushing Ctrl U. I'm going to spread them out every 100 millimeters. Push OK. Move my mouse up the page. Now I'm just going to select the fill tool because I actually want to create the wall now. Draw from the point of origin first. And I'm just going to follow this profile around. Put a bit of an angle on there. Another angle there. Using my wheel to scroll in and out as I'm creating the object. So there's my basic wall type. So I'm just going to change the fill type to just a brickwork type fill. I'm just going to hide all my construction lines now, or my drafting lines. That's my wall. I also need to add another material. So at the moment, this material is all concrete, and if I wanted to change that, I can just select it and push uniform and over. Now if I just wanted to add another fill, so just click on the fill tool, and I'm going to put another bit of a skirting type moulding on the outside of this wall as a separate element. I'm going to select that, change the fill. I'm going to make this one face. So I'm just going to make the main wall face brick now, and push push override. Now it's made everything that material. Now I'm just going to select this smaller fill on the front here. Now while I've got my left mouse button pushed down, I can select this icon here, and that will change only that one surface. So I'm going to put that to concrete, and I'm going to push all edges to this fill only. If I wanted to change these surfaces over here, I just select the fill, then hold my left mouse button down, choose the last icon again, and push select edge only, choose the second material, push concrete. I'm just going to repeat that process for this next part as well. Push OK. Just going to repeat that process again. OK. And maybe one more time. And this edge as well. Now, next I want to look at my horizontal stretch. At the moment, horizontal stretch is through here. I might just move that back in line with the wall. As I grab the horizontal stretch line, I can actually move that diagonally down here and use the new snapping function in ArchiCAD. Once you let it go, the stretch line will still extend beyond the wall. Next, I want to have a look at my vertical stretch. Over here, I want to move that down to here. Then I'm going to grab this bottom stretch line, move it up to here, and I might move this one back down a little bit here. So if I'm going to stretch this wall, this is the only area that I want it to affect, the stretch that is. Then the opening reference, I'm going to move that back to this point here, and on the back of the wall, same thing, I want to move it to in line with this face of the wall. So now I have to store the profile, give it a name, just going to call it old wall. I'm taking care or remembering where the reference line is. That's this point over here. In actual fact, I might just modify this wall just a touch more. Just going to move this fill down a little bit lower by say 200 millimeters, and I'm going to store the profile again and close it. Now if I draw my slab again, now I'm going to place that wall, select the complex profile again, the old wall is already selected, push OK, hold my space bar down. This time I'm going to use gravity to replace that wall, so I'm going to gravitate the wall to the slab so I don't have to worry about setting the height. Hold my space button down, click on it, then I go to the 3D window. The nice thing about these walls, other than this would have been pretty awkward to do in an older version of ArchiCAD, is if I select the wall and I stretch it in a vertical plane, it should only stretch in the area that we just defined, which is just in here, which is perfect. We can also see that the walls are cleaning up properly. They don't have a 45-degree splay in there, which was an inherent issue in older versions of ArchiCAD. And if I place the window in there, just any old window, we should see that that is sitting in there perfectly, as per where we placed our opening reference lines that we defined in the complex profile manager. The final option that we have is to merge walls, which at the moment we haven't drawn anything yet, so it's not available. So first of all, I'm going to draw a wall, a 3 meter high wall, just a short wall. Then I'm going to draw another wall next to it that might be 500 mil high, starting at 0, and we might only make it 200 millimeters thick. Just so we can push it, push OK. Draw this wall next to it. Now this is displayed. Now this is displayed differently because it's below the cut plane. Now I'm going to draw one more wall. This time it's going to be a shorter trim, maybe 300 high, starting at 2700 high, and it can also be 200 high. This time I'm going to use projected with overhead. So now if we select all 3 walls and go to the 3D window, we can see the result. We can see that there are 3 individual walls. So now if I go back to the floor plan, and if I select all 3 walls and I go to the design menu, complex profiles, merge walls. So now if I go back to the 3D window, we can see that this is just one wall. If I wanted to save this wall for jobs other than the one that I'm working on at the moment, I have to select the wall, go to design, complex profiles, capture profile of selection. Once that happens, it opens up the profile manager, and over here we can edit it once again and store the profile again. Just to recap, these 3 techniques that we've gone over can be used for walls, beams and columns. With this new facility in ArchiCAD, our imagination is our only limitation. Here's another example of a wall that's been modelled up. If we zoom in here, we can see that this particular example, we've got the footing, flashing, the external brick skin, which is stepped down, the eaves, gutter, cornice, all in one. Once we've done that, we can select the wall and go to the complex profile, capture profile selection, and as soon as we do that, we have the wall in our library now. Now I need to store that profile and use that as a wall. I can also edit it further if I want to. Just going to give that a name, full wall, push OK, push store profile, close it, and if I delete this wall now, and I might just draw another slab, and then go back to the wall, select the complex profile, and select the full wall, push OK, hold my spacebar down, click around it. Now if I open my section and elevation, we can see that my slab's a little bit too thick at the moment. I'm just going to change that to 150 millimeters, and now we can see that it's cleaned itself up. So it's married up perfectly. I've got my slab and my wall, and there's no detailing to be done. It's all ready. My fascia, my gutter's done, my corners. So the complex wall tool is a very powerful tool that allows us a lot of flexibility to create virtually any beam, wall or column profile that we want.